Twitter is crazy. Anyway, I'm on Twitter because I'm part of Soap Twitter. I'm part of Star Wars Twitter. I'm part of Hallmark Twitter. I mean, it's all crazy. The fans are cuckoo. The cuckoo co puffs. I'm on there because it's part of my job. I scream and holler at them. We rant. They yell at me. People, whatever. So I do it all the time. So this Elon Musk thing, as you know, I was kind of going, well, will it really affect anything that I have going on Twitter? I don't know. I have no idea. But I guess it seems now he's not going to buy Twitter.
That's where that's where his tweet is taking him. Yeah, he's apparently, according to the news, that he's suspect of the accounting of Twitter folks, right? So if your member base is suspect and you can't really account for it, apparently, how do you value a business? But I have to say, how do you value a business in the first place? Make a deal.
Yes.
Right. And then a very public deal.
Very public. Very public.
Very public. And you don't know what kind of due diligence was done before he made the deal. No. And now, and as with a lot of mergers, acquisitions, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Right.
It just seems like he wanted it for a very specific reason. And now it's become about money. And that I find interesting. You don't want to overpay, right?
Right.
But you put a bid out there for something, you were making a statement, and now you're pulling it back because of a money deal.
Do you think part of it was attention?
Well, I think everything with Elon Musk is a part of, a big part of it, him is attention for sure. I just was disappointed, because somebody came out and took a stand, had the resources to buy it, change it, and now has made it again about money as opposed to principle or whatever, for him, it was a matter of principle. At least that's what he was portraying.
Yeah.
So now we're back to, the traditional corporate stance of profit. And so a little disappointing. And when you're a billionaire to begin with, like, come on.
It's a world you'll never figure we'll never have. I mean, I'll never be a billionaire.
Oh, no.
I mean, I don't even
know. But if I felt so strongly about something and I had real money to throw at it, I don't know how I would step back from that and make it about valuation. What does he really care? Honestly, what the member base is, or, if it's really about opening back up media, like non-censorship was really what this was supposed to be about. Right. So I'm disappointed, and I let myself get a little excited, regardless of his politics, regardless of who he is or what he does. I got a little excited about, oh my God, this is somebody who wants to not have censorship, and he's going after one of the largest networks. Well, not me, I'm not a Twitter person, but most of us are on Twitter. I got excited about just the concept of, wow, somebody's standing up for principle. No. So for me,
it's I'm fine. I'm looking at it from a very entertainment sort of way, and as a content creator, I look at all these I look at it through a certain lens. It's very much that I'm always wondering, how could each of these social medias help me in my business and how I do things? Because my business is very audience based. It's very audience driven. It's fan driven. It's social driven. If I put out a product, can it get out there and will enough people see it, talk about it, watch it, buy it, whatever. So I look at all these. I look at Instagram. I look at Facebook, all of them. I'm like, so when I hear these little rumblings of things like, screw, what's his name on Facebook, and screw it, I'm kind of always like, I don't really care about them so much. I mean, whatever they're doing. I mean, they're so, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon, they're so rich. They're in a world that I'm not even, I've met millionaires, but I've never met billionaires before. So I have no clue what that world is. I can't even, my brain can't even compute that. But it can compute their adding new things to this channel and changing the look of that one and adding more buttons to this. I'm always curious when someone says, like, you know, I want to take over. I was more curious about what changes he might make and if they would be beneficial to me and my business and my colleagues. Like, would it be something that's harder for us or would it be easier for us? And so, like I said, I have nothing for or against Elon Musk. I mean, Tesla's running around everywhere. I hear things about him all the time. But I was curious if he takes over, would it truly, like you, would it truly be a free highway, like a free way just kind of to be who you are? Yes, I hate to see certain folks on Twitter. Yes, I hate to see them on there and some of the things that they say. I used to be, my mother used to always say, I used to be a person who was like, it's better to know what your enemy is saying so you know what's going on. Better the devil you know. Better you know what
That's
saying.
right.
But I'm getting to the point where, because everybody's being a devil, so I'm tired of seeing it at this point. So now I don't want to see it anymore because I've seen it. I know, I kind of get the gist of how certain Americans feel. I kind of get a gist, and I know you know that too. They're like, I think at this point we know. I don't need to see it as much. We know there are folks out there against women or against gay. I think we already know that already. Like, it's kind of out there. So I'm kind of shifting. I would love to see a nicer Twitter. I feel like out of all of these social medias, Twitter is the most toxic. And I wish we could see a nicer Twitter or more. Just, I don't know. I wish it would change in some ways. I know that it's, again, free speech and everything, but I just feel like there's so much on, because it's like basically texting. There's just so much on there. It's just so I was curious, going back to him, what you're saying, I kind of almost agree with you. I was curious to see what he was going to do with the platform. And maybe if it would it become like the best platform of all the three, or would it become like, I was curious. So as a content creator, I was curious about that.
Yeah. And I also heard I guess a disc jockey, for lack of current terminology,
Disc
on
jockey.
Sirius.
Go on, girl. Okay, disc jockey. Yes.
She was concerned about paying for Twitter. So there was another like, oh, is he going to just come out and, you know, commoditize Twitter in a way? And that could be entry barriers as well, if it, you know, subscription based Twitter now. And I could see that. But I felt like the initial opportunity was make Twitter what Twitter was supposed to be. And I am a big believer in, hey, look, if you don't like something you're reading, turn it off. You don't have to read it. You don't have to, you know, and because I think that's more of the mature approach to it, because once you start censoring anything, that's censorship. And so, you know, yes, there are certain people that everyone got tired of. Everybody got tired of. But when you start making, you know, excluding folks, I'm in a world that is not supposed to be exclusive. That's what got me curious about Twitter. Like, wait a sec, who are the people who are making the decisions of now who's banned from Twitter? And that was curious to me, based on what? And so when Elon Musk came in and said, no, this isn't right, this is not what the platform's supposed to be, you know, it was kind of like this rescuing of, and like I said, I got excited for a hot minute until it turned whatever political. It's about money, it's about valuation. It just got blurry again. So no, you know, no savior, kind of, right? No one's really gonna really stand up, I don't think, for free press and freedom of speech, because I think it still is so controlled by money and power and politics. I mean, at the root of it, everything is very political these days. So
I have a very complicated relationship between, I wrote this down, so I'll make sure I say it correctly.
Okay.
Censorship versus free speech. I have a very complicated relationship with it because I
Okay.
always say to my fans, my page is a dictatorship, not a democracy. So whenever I post to my page, I post on my page. And I feel like everybody's pages, it's the same way. When you post on your page, is your page. The problem is because the algorithms, you know what algorithms people look, you look up on look it up in the dictionary, but the algorithms on all of these sites make it so that you see certain things.
Yes.
So you have to, they promote things on purpose. So you can try, because I have one Twitter account that's for organizing. And when I first started, I only followed other professional organizers and anybody affiliated with the organizing world, movers and packers, things like those, things like that. Framing shops, things like that. Estate sale place, like it was all anything was related. So the first 5-6 years I was on there, that's all I saw in my timeline was just organized stuff. I love that. Last couple of years, though, now you're seeing what someone else made, because now everybody's doing the same thing I'm doing. So an organizing client could follow someone that follows Greenpeace. I'm just saying, just thinking on my butt.
Okay.
And so now I'm seeing Greenpeace stuff. Not just that, but now I'm seeing protesting stuff, and now I'm seeing Republican stuff and like the rebuttals. It's like I didn't want to see all that. I kind of like curating. You can still do it to some level, but not like you used to. They're all now, it's like, especially on Instagram too, they're always like sponsored. I'm like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see, I don't care about that. But they're changing these algorithms so that they promote stuff. And so that becomes a problem. So I started seeing stuff I really didn't want to see on Twitter. And it was getting on my nerves. And then it opened up to people who don't follow me, see one of my tweets, and they're responding. They call them subtweeting. They start subtweeting on my stuff. It's like, you don't even know who I am. You're jumping on some bandwagon. You don't even know what's going on. They're yelling and screaming, call me names. Like, you don't even know what's going on. So I think that's my problem a little bit with this, because I want to be able to choose what I see. And I think that, and said, but it's free speech, right? So you have that, and I always say there's verbal diarrhea. People just spew out diarrhea to talk, say whatever. That's personal, business, and political. I mean, I know people who just like tell their lives every day online. And today he beat me, or whatever. Like, I don't hear all that today. Like, just go on and on. And I said, so for me, it spans the spectrum. I'm just talking about racist stuff. I'm like, there's even regular people stuff where it's like they just tell everything. And I'm like, yes, I have to live with free speech because I'm part of the press. I'm a press person. I do opinion television. My world is about free speech. But in the last couple of years, and you're a woman, so you can relate to this also, there's a lot of stuff out there against us that we have to look at also. And you get tired of, you try to be mature, you try to like ignore it, it becomes hard. So I fully admit I have a complicated relationship, because you're right. You censor one person. I mean, I say it all the time. I say it all the time. I have a complicated relationship with it. So I've gotten to the point where I think it's so bad out there online, social media, not like in real life. No one talks like that in real life anyway. It's all on social
Nobody does, because you're not anonymous in real life. You're literally looking somebody else, another human being, in the eyes.
And same if you stay on Twitter, like that doesn't happen. Like it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's so weird because I don't mind social media, because I think it can be a lot of fun also. I talk shit about it all the time, but there's some great fans, and we talk about what we do like, and I have people give me fan art and whatever. It's kind of fun stuff, like pictures of me or whatever. We have a good time on there. We really loved your show, and this was great. This is how I feel about this. I like that. I like the exchanges sometimes, but it's the other stuff. You're just like, people just say stuff. They just say whatever. And yes, they have a right to say whatever. But it's just like, oh my God. And the problem also was, people need to remember, these are private companies. Twitter, Facebook, these are they can stop you. They can say, we don't want this on our platform. They have a right to say, we don't like, no shoes, no shirt, no service. They have a right to say it. But is it right? I don't know. So I'm completely admitting I have a complicated relationship with it, completely.
Yeah. And I think tolerance was what I heard. There's a lot of us out there whose level of tolerance of crazy has just reached its peak. And I get that. I think though that, censorship is appropriate when you're, protecting life, when you're protecting, see that it's that's a really deep conversation, not
Exactly.
in that mind space.
But I'm saying
there
it's complicated. It's not that easy.
Well, like free speech is free speech, but you don't stand up in a theater and yell fire, because that's dangerous. So it goes against public policy, and we can have those conversations. Great. Just on the face of it, though, when you've got a platform like Twitter that was supposed to encourage, right, conversation,
Yes.
and a certain group doesn't like a certain conversation, and so they turn it off.
Yes.
That's a lot of control.
Yes, that is.
And that's where I draw the line of, okay, who's making those decisions? What are the policies? Are they being followed all the time? Like, because otherwise you just have corporations, I believe, shaping the way we think and feel, as opposed to just providing a platform. So that's a really healthy conversation between that and censorship. And I think that Elon Musk, once again, has come out in the spotlight and has forced us to look at the issue. Is this about preserving censorship, non-censorship, freedom of speech, or is this really about money?
And I think always about money.
It's obviously it's about money now.
Everything's about money. Everything is.
Everything is about money. So, I was a little naive and thinking, oh my gosh, this is really great. A billionaire stepping up and, moving forward with something because it's a belief, as opposed, hey, we can make some money. By doing something different, breaking it up, selling it off, like they're really. So I was just, really kind of disappointed that, again, thank you, Elon Musk, for reminding me that this is, everything is about money, everything. For somebody who doesn't need money,
right? For
somebody who has so much money, one person, so much money, so much influence, so much power, he could have made the change.
We don't have that much money. They live in a whole other world than we do. And I can't even imagine what that would look like or feel like, just to have that much where you have to worry about nothing. Like you literally have to worry about, there's just nothing, like I remember somebody said once, they turned out a deal because they're like, I don't need the money. Like I already have enough money. Like I don't need the money. I think it was Dave Chappelle when he turned down the $50 million. I think it's like, I have enough money. Now I'm just collecting money.
Yeah.
That's right.
The worries and decisions completely change.
Yes.
When you have enough money, and that changes, right? I mean, your idea of enough money, my idea of enough money are always going to be different. But right. When people get to that pinnacle and go, I got enough money, I don't really need that deal, or I don't want to show up here. They have other worries because they have to preserve. Now their focus is preservation and legacy, because it sucks to lose it. You go from living a life of true freedom, and now you lose it because you're a dumbass, and right. Now it's worse.
Right. I just think it's the world. Even I worked in the world of activism for years, and I work in the world of nonprofits from my volunteer work, and you've done volunteer work. We all do stuff, and it all comes down to money, and that's just the sad part. It's just everything. It makes the world go round. It just does, yeah. Folks. And I think, I'm part of this thing called Christmas Is Not Canceled. My friends are doing it through GAC Family Channel, and they're trying to get people. They're trying to make big backpacks for kids for summer camps and have summer activities, and it's like but it was like, it's a shame we have to get on here, and I tell people it does cost money to do this.
It does.
You can do it. It's a great cause. Everybody's like, we love the cause. Everything's like, but it does cost money. I mean, it's money. It's just people You know, I'm shucking my wares, and I have a Patreon channel and a Buy Me a Coffee channel, and I'm creating merchandise right now so I can sell. And I'm like, I gotta make money. This is my job. I told you this weekend, this is my job. This is what I do for a living, is I talk to you guys for a living. I don't have a 9 to 5. And so, you know, and they've been very gracious, and I'm getting $5 here, $10 there. I mean, they're doing it, but it's kind of like, that's my job. I said, I mean, yeah, I got some organizing work coming up, whatever, but like, this is my job. This is not for shits and giggles, kids. This is like, everything boils down. Like, well, for you guys, you decide to take your office, everybody go remote. There's a money thing in that also, of being at home versus renting. Thank you. No, versus, I'm like, why are you honking at me? Versus being in an office, versus paying for office space, versus the gas that costs to go there, versus, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much of the dollars and cents in that decision you guys make, and all these companies are making now since COVID, especially. They're like, it's cheaper for you to be at home. It's cheaper for you not to travel 20, 30 miles to go to work, you know, in traffic in Los Angeles. You know, it's like everything goes down to money. And I hate that on some level. I wish it wasn't like that. But it just is. I mean, and that includes our social media, that includes everything. It just includes our networks. It includes having HBO Max. And if you don't have cable, you gotta pay extra for it. I get it for free because I have HBO. I was mentioning Paramount Plus, and they're like, well, I don't have money I don't have $6.99 for that. Like, that's all these streaming services cost money. Like this week I'm going to, or tomorrow, Amazon Fresh. I'm going to Amazon Fresh tomorrow, get my coupons. But that costs, because it's Amazon, it's Prime Day tomorrow. But it's like, everything comes down to money. Everything does, you know, and with money, and you said a little earlier, the cousin to money is politics. The cousin to money is, you know, this, that, and the third. It's a lot of things are tied into the money quotient.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. But it's funny you say that. I go back to the free speech thing. It is hard. Of course I believe in it, obviously, because that's what I do for a living. I would not be shut down. But then I see certain things, and you said something that's hitting me now, and you're absolutely correct. My tolerance level is half gone at this point for nonsense. I'm not talking about like regular little crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, but we have seen some outrageous stuff the last couple of years happen that I'm like, my tolerance level is it's depleted. It's like, I don't have it anymore. And I have lost friendships, ended friendships, blocked people. I mean, I have lost fans. I've done it because I don't have the tolerance level anymore. But I do have some people in my life who are Republican.
Yes.
And they're not super far right. And that's why if they're far right, we can't get along. We just can't. But if they're somewhere like me, because I'm not super far left myself, I'm somewhere in the middle. And so we're still friends or family members, and we're fine, and we talk it out. And I think, to me, that's fine. For me, that's my comfort level. But the ones who openly, and my family and my friends who openly talked crap about me, or called me names, or accused me of certain things, we don't talk anymore. I said, you can have your free speech over there. You're not going to do it to me.
I think when people are hurtful, demeaning, cruel, unempathetic,
yes,
all of that is just, hurtful, but it's out there. It's out there in every walk of life. And, again, I think regardless of your political affiliation, I think a lot more of Americans are coming in the middle. Like,
I think so.
I think a lot of us, because of lack of tolerance, and our cities, our communities are being taken over by the lowest common denominator of the loudest voice.
Yes.
And I think we're looking around at each other going, how did we let this happen? This doesn't even feel right anymore. I mean, it's just, the idea that it's okay to do drugs, shoot up on the street, to urinate and defecate on the street, to pitch a tent on a public sidewalk. How did we get here? I think we all have a level of sympathy for people who are truly homeless and suffering.
Yeah.
I mean, really suffering. Those, though, that choose this life because they're addicted to drugs and alcohol, and they can't live a normal life. They cannot do
Right.
a normal routine that society has for many years said this is kind of normal. You know, you go to, you make a little money so you can pay for food and housing and clothing, and that's a normal societal expectation. But I'm done with that. I don't want my grandchildren to be afraid to walk down the street because they don't know what they're going to see or smell, or they don't know, you know, if there's danger.
Right.
I don't want to be subject to it anymore.
Right.
And for so long, we've been made to feel like you can't say that because you're a bad person. That equals you're a bad person.
Right.
And I think, again, the tolerance level has come down so much that we're all like, but that's not really where we're coming from. What we're saying is, you know, it's not normal. This is not a normal thing. And if it is normal, I don't want to be here.
Right.
You know, and I want to help these folks who need help, who will accept it.
Right.
And so we have like a huge election coming up, and the next mayor of the city of Los Angeles will be selected. And I think that if we're going to have more of the same of homelessness is not, you know, they don't even use the term homeless anymore, because that's now a bad term. I mean, it's like, I don't even know how we got here. But
I don't either. I'm a person who, you know, life evolves and changes. So is society, right? So
yes,
I told my
thank
grandson,
goodness.
right? I told my
goodness.
I told my grandson, I told my daughter, my grandson, I said, you know, he doesn't want to go to, he's not going to college right now. And I said, you know, college isn't for everybody.
Right.
Now, in our day, you're told to go to college. You go to college, you get a degree. Now, half of our friends are not even working in their field they went to college for.
No.
I've done like 50 of these IAB Cal voices, and half of them are not even doing what they did when they went to college. They're in insurance.
That's right.
So I was laughing about that. But I mean, and college is a great experience, blah, blah, blah stuff. But I tell people there are trade schools. There are programs out there that are for some people, that is what they should do.
Yes.
Not necessarily go to a 4-year university, get in debt for the rest of their lives, you know, it's expensive, right. or put you in debt for the rest of your life because you're trying to pay for it. And they really don't want to be there. I think I said we should encourage them to always try to get some kind of education somewhere. But she got mad because I told her, I said, no, I'm like, I told him, I said, get a trade or something, like, you know, go. So he's doing fine. He's doing what he's doing. But like, I was like, get a trade. There's all kinds of schools that are 6 months, 9 months,
yes,
long. And you can cater it to your lifestyle. You can do it online so I said, I think that just goes by what you said, like that there are things that are changing and shifting that we have to loosen up a little bit in terms of how we see everything. It's not gonna be the same for everybody. And some folks are homeless because of either bad decisions, bad choices, or something befalling them. Some people, like they said, they're mind their own business. I'm telling you, one medical bill could wipe somebody out.
absolutely.
Or I had some friends who I was homeless for 2 weeks. So I know what it feels like to be homeless for a few weeks. It was like I was kicked out of a place and I had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's things that happen sometimes beyond your control.
Yes.
Happen, and those folks I know really want help and they want to get back on their feet. But there's some folks who get used to being out in the streets. I've talked to some of them. They could never have a 9-to-5 job, and so we got to find programs for them. That's not 9-to-5 job. Dress them up and put them back in there. That's not they don't. That's not what they don't. They can't do it anymore. They rather panhandle all day. And you and I are going, well, that's crazy. But for them, it's normalcy for them. They've done it for so long. So can we find something I'm not a politician, but like, can you find something for them that could possibly work in between there, where they're off the street, but you're not trying to get them to do, you know, work at McDonald's or whatever. They don't want to work there. They don't want to work there.
Right. And, it's also dangerous to live on the street. This is not a society that supports one another. I mean, there's a lot of crime and it's very scary for folks who are living on the street. And I have to believe in my heart that there's folks out there that don't want to be, afraid every night. They don't, worrying about going to sleep and not waking up is not something that I don't believe people should fear. And again, I guess that's my Pollyannish way of saying, we need a more sound structure for a lot of folks who do want to, reacclimate. And certainly folks that are just down on their luck, because that happens to all of us.
Yes, it does. It does.
It happens to all of us. And there's no shame in that.
Nope.
Having real support in a system that, let's face it, James, there's so much fraud and abuse.
There is. There is.
System that's jaded everybody. But no, there's people who need help, and there's no shame in that. And they should have access to services and support. And there's some great nonprofits, but really it does need to be the community in the city who says, look, this is where you come. We'll help you. We have a place for you and your family. We have, reentry programs. We have, vocational training. We have all of these things. And I'm sure we do somewhere in the city. I just think that we forget that, because what we see are folks who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, who are passed out living on the street. And so there are definite, subsections of homeless. It's not everybody's not the same.
Nope, they're not.
And I'm just targeting those folks that are addicted, and they don't want change, and they turn to crime to feed their addiction. We can't pretend that's not happening.
It's happening. My problem is that, you just said something also that's very important, is having systems in place. And I, as a person who's an entrepreneur, and I know for me, 5 years ago, I found out that my tax person, I'm not going to out him on public, but my tax person screwed me over. And
oh my goodness.
I almost lost my whole business and basically my life. So I know why people kill themselves over money. So I was the lowest point of my life. I thought I was going to leave Los Angeles. It was a whole big mess. I've gone through it. I worked it out, but it took years for me to work it out. I've also had identity theft, major identity theft, and I had to deal with that for a year. So I've had certain things happen where I understand why you could either be homeless. Luckily, I have certain things in place that I'm very fortunate. But then COVID hit, and I'll tell you something, I didn't get a lot of aid. And a lot of my friends who are contact creators, we didn't get a lot of aid, and we're not rich. And I made some of the requirements, and the system is so backlogged. I'm still owed money from like 4 years ago that I still haven't gotten yet. The IRS has money for me. They've held for for like 6 years that they owe me. I got paid a tax return last year from 2014. Due to COVID, we're having we're backlogged. Due to COVID, due to COVID. And so I know for me, if you can't wait for money, luckily I have things in place, but if I couldn't wait for money, I would have been on the street last year. It would have been. I'm lucky my mortgage is very low. Lucky I have a brother. Lucky I have a mother nearby. Lucky I have friends. Luckily I have a little bit of savings here and there. I was lucky to have little few things, but for first year, for 2020 and 2021, I had no job. I didn't get the stimulus check. So I didn't get either of them on the first year. I didn't get any of them. I didn't get them. I couldn't apply for, and it was so weird. So I live in Inglewood, but my business was listed in Los Angeles, and my mom's, and the business where she's living in LA. She lives in LA City, which is part of the unincorporated county part of Los Angeles. So her mayor is Mayor Garcetti, and also they're run by the sheriffs. So I had to learn all this. I had to learn all this during COVID. So I wanted to apply for services. I kept getting turned down because they were giving out stuff for residents of Los Angeles, which I'm not a resident of Los Angeles. I'm a resident of Inglewood. And in Inglewood, they're giving out small business loans for people who have businesses in Inglewood. My business was in Los Angeles. but in the cut, and there was like, but then there was things for only the county. It was like, I literally want to pull all my hair out back then.
Don't do that. That's gorgeous hair there.
I would have pulled it all out. But I'm saying, but the systems are so set up so also where it's almost like they don't want you to have the money. I couldn't get unemployment. I tried. I've never collected unemployment my entire life. I tried to get, I know I have money in there. They turned me down twice. I couldn't get WIC. They turned me down. Like they gave me Medi-Cal for my thing. So that's been great. But I was like, but literally I think I made like $1,000 in 2020. Like literally I had no new money coming in. And that was the year, and I started my network. I was like, okay, now I'm gonna rebuild. So 2021, I was in a better situation. I couldn't organize because of the lockdowns and COVID.
You couldn't make money.
To make money. I could make money. And so you would think I'd go to my government and say, hi, I need assistance. And I have friends who have a million stories like mine. They're all a little different stories.
Sure, of course.
And some guys, so I'm saying we have also a system that's not strong in place either for everyone. And we need that.
That's right.
That too. We need that also. You kind of alluded to that earlier. So I'm like, yeah, I know there's that also. I'm not a politician, I don't have all the answers, but I just know that there's certain things from my own personal experience that I think if they were really in place and were better set up, things could be better, I think. I don't know how that works, but I think I have some ideas, but I think it could be really set up better.
Yeah. Well, and you have a really important story to tell because you fell through all the cracks.
I did.
Somehow the money that needed to go to you didn't go to you because bureaucracy.
I got one stimulus check.
Bureaucracy.
Exactly. I got one check in 2021. The one they did, it was $1,200.
Yeah.
And I got that in 2021. They did 2 in 2020 and 1 in 2021. I got the third one. That's the only one I got. I applied for the others to my taxes. I still have not got my taxes back. I haven't got anything back. They're backlogged. We're still waiting. We're sitting here. We're still trying to do this. And it's the COVID. Everything I call passports, COVID, this, COVID, everything's COVID due to COVID. That's the excuse they're using for everything. So I don't know if it's true or not. But that's the excuse they're using. I mean, I have no idea. I know job people are there. I know a lot of companies are low on jobs. They need more postmen. Our post stuff is coming on Sundays now. We had no mail on Saturday. The guy comes, I'm outside watering my plants. He's like, here's your mail. I go, today's Sunday. He goes, yeah, we're short staffed.
Oh, wow.
Looking for mailmen, looking for carriers. Excuse me, letter carriers.
Letter carriers.
I don't want to buy me hate mail. I said postman. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah.
Yay, Mr. Postman. Wait. So
the blast from the past.
Yes, like letter carriers.
Yeah.
Like flight attendant, not stewardess.
Flight attendant. That's right.
Flight attendant. But yeah. So I agree with you on. So I think. But then it all goes back to money, and who's lining your pockets.
Yeah. That's the reality of life is currency. Because, if you look at the apocalyptic shows, money is not the currency. It's water, it's food, it's ammunition, it's whatever. But currency really is what makes the world go round. And we know it is money.
Yes, I agree.
Thankfully, because I don't want to live in an post-apocalyptic kind of environment where, you and I are killing each other over water. Okay, that's not what I want.
I will kill you over water. I will kill you.
Yeah, and I would kill you too for...
I'm like, I love you. Yeah,
we'd have this whole exchange of,
I love you so much. I love you too. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
My water. Yes, I will kill you for water and food. I will do that. I will do that. I have to.
So yeah, let's not go there. That's not a good thing. And let's, try a little bit more love and compassion for one another and try and keep it real.
And there I am, James.
And I am Melissa.
This is we had some coffee and we had some conversation. My mug.
We did.
Beautiful. Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful.
So we did that. We are both a year older now. We both are in our prime. We did it. We made it. Another trip around the sun. We did it since we last talked. And we're great. Again, follow us on all social media platforms. We're on all of the Spotify, Google, and Apple, and iHeart, and all those. And on my channel, JLJ Media, which celebrates 2 years in business. I this weekend I visited my old stomping grounds, AfterBuzz TV. Took a picture in front of it, broke the internet. Take a picture in front of it. It's closed, and I haven't been there since the pandemic. They closed down, and that's where I got my start 7 years ago. And it was very emotional for me. So to see just a shell of where I got started, but because of you guys, because of AfterBuzz TV, I am here, and I'm here with Melissa doing a show and podcasting, which is my life. Thank you. I appreciate it very, 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 very much. I'm gonna do this as long as I can talk. As long as I can talk, I'm gonna keep doing this. As long as I can keep going. I think Andy Rooney did till he was like 93 or something. So if he can keep doing it, I can keep doing it. Just roll me into a chair and I will keep talking. Free speech, my kids. We love you guys. See you next time. Okay, so I was up last night until 3 this morning, binge watching The Flight Attendant season 2.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, I'm so tired. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
What time did you get to bed?
4 o'clock.
Oh my goodness. James, I'm so proud of you for being here at 8:30.
I couldn't stop. Well, they making noises over there. It's just, anyway, construction. But this show is so good. Anybody watches this, HBO Max or HBO, The Flight Attendant, Kaylee Cuoco, it is so, Rosie Perez, it is so effing good. It's like every episode, it's a different twist, a different turn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have 1 episode left. I had to go to bed. I was like, my eyes will not stay open for the last episode. So I got to watch the season finale later today, and I'll be done. But it's so, because my sister, they all watched it first. They're ahead of me. They finished, go, James, we can't talk about it till you finish watching it. I'm like, I know, oh my God. I'm not a Big Bang Theory fan, so I didn't watch her on that. I remember from the 8 Simple Rules show with John Ritter back in the day. I have nothing for or against her. I've seen her on talk shows, like, oh, she's fine, whatever. She's a cute girl, whatever. This show, I think she deserves, I think she got an Emmy nomination last year. The Emmy nominations come out tomorrow. I think she deserves every nomination, and Rosie Perez does too. I mean, I like Rosie Perez. She's so good, so good. It's so good, so good.
Yeah, we watched season 1. We haven't started season 2. We've got like this whole catalog of shows.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's what it is, right? I mean, it's just I have a bunch. Yeah. That's me too. So I was like, I had watched season 1 and finished it a while back, and I keep seeing the billboards for season 2 out there. I was like, Jerry, just sit down, watch a couple episodes. This is like, because I was going to watch Big Brother because it just came back, and that's my other guilty pleasure. And I was like, okay, I'll just watch a couple episodes. And I watched Big Brother because I was DVRing it. And season 2 is where you're gonna just be like, what in the? Because I was thinking, can you do a season? Because in the season 1, like giving spoilers away, but she watched it. It kind of wrapped up. Kind of, so I'm going to say it kind of gave you a nice little whatever. And I'm thinking, well, they're going to continue it. How are they going to do that? Well, they find a way. And it's good. And it's good.
Writers are very creative. That's why they make the big bucks.
Yes.
I mean, in your world of soap opera-ism,
yes.
They are very creative over there. So they keep it rolling. Like if there's a season 2, ching, they're going to find a way.
They're going to find a way. And speaking of soap operas, as we're talking today, we're recording this on July 11th, which this is really funny. We're doing 11, my favorite number in the world. Our friend and frequent person on this show, Tony Moore, debuts on Beyond Salem 2 on Peacock today. He's on episode 1. I've not watched it yet. I'll watch it after we're done with this. I'm going to watch all that after today too. But his lifelong dream happened. So he wanted to be on something that was Days Are Alive since he was 11 years old. He wanted to be on something Days Are Alive related. And the writer of Days Are Alive invited him on the show with a speaking role. So, and the pictures were released to the public, and they're like, "That's Tony Moore," and it was Tony Moore. So he's I'm so excited. I love when dreams come true. So I'm very excited for him today. So Beyond Salem,
excited for him too.
Yes. So Beyond Salem 2 on Peacock James Lott Jr., season 2, episode 2 of Studio City. Watch me do my thing on the episode 2.
You were fabulous on. I was gushing over your performance. I remember a podcast or 2 ago.
Yes, I got more stuff yesterday because we just returned. Our soap after shows returned after 3 months. We took 3 months off. We just came back yesterday. And a lot of people were the change is so good. Oh my God. I'm like, well, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun being mean to my friend. But check it out, James Lott Jr. in a role that he does not do normally. I'm a little shady, but I'm not shady like that in real life.
Oh, yeah. You're just critical.
Yes, it's fun. It's fun. Have a good time. So that was that. So that's why I was up late. I knew, here's what's crazy for me. I know that if I have nothing planned after this. It's actually a very light day for me. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
It doesn't happen very often. It doesn't always happen very often. So
yeah,
I tell myself, because I don't have a 9-to-5 job, I don't technically have to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night or get up at, I don't have to technically. You want some kind of schedule. You want something where as long as I sleep 6, 7, 8 hours, I am good at some point. But like on some days, if the creativity happens or like something like that happens, like the other night I was up late. I wrote a script. I was just like totally at midnight. I woke up and I wrote a script. I was like, okay, for an audio drama. And I sat down and Flip was like, I got this thing like at 2 a.m. I was like, I was up. But I was like, that I can do that if I don't have like tomorrow I have a client in the morning. So like I would stay up till 3 a.m. and they get up at 6. But I'm saying, but other days I'm like, well, I can go to bed because I can leave here, take a nap afterwards. Okay, good night. See you later, Melissa. I'm going to take a nap. I could do that for another 4 or 5 hours.
Yes.
Then get up in the afternoon and where I could do that too. So I mean, it's just kind of one of those things I have to tell myself when God sent the creativity or whatever through me, just let it happen. Don't worry about the time. Make sure I get the rest at some point.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at like 7, 8, 9 hours.
Well, I'd love to have 7, 8, 9 hours. Yeah, I love it.
7, 8, 9 hours. Yeah. But I get it. It's funny you waking up in the middle of the night. Mine is stress related. But I've learned to, oh shit, I have to do that thing. So I pick up the iPhone, right? And I just calendar it. And I read that long ago, just whatever you do, leave a pad and a pencil next to your bed for the creative types and just write. Like if you wake up and you get an idea or something, well, it works for stress related folks too, who have, demands on them. Right. And James, I go right back to sleep. It's a great tip. So this thing pops in my head. Oh God, I've got to do this, or, oh, I got to make that call. Don't forget to send that email, kind of a thing. Just jot it down on your phone and you'll go right back to sleep.
Very smart. As in the organizing world, we also we say you should do that if you can.
Yeah. Oh, you do. Okay. Well, see, now it's endorsed by James Lott Jr., professional organizer extraordinaire.
Quoted in Forbes magazine. No, let me throw that in there. No, seriously, because it's I'm a list person. So I always have my phone. I have little pads with lines on them. But I feel like once I write it down, I'm good. Now, yes. The problem is sometimes, here's an extra added to the tip. Make sure you write something coherent to understand later, because there have been a couple of times when I'm like, orange. Why did I write down orange? Like, it'll take me all day, and I'm stressed out again because I forgot what this is. Make sure you write down orange car, orange file, oranges. It's like orange Coke or something. I don't know. It's like whatever it is. Like, make sure you write down something that you can understand later. Because I know you have sleep sometimes, or you're like kind of in a panic. So I was like, put this little extra side tip. Because I've done. I'm like, I don't like. It says Jack Wagner. I don't know what that means. I know who he was. He's a great actor. I don't know why I wrote it down. Because for me, it's like I have a lot of stuff that's entertainment related. Maybe like I gotta make sure I write at least a few words, or which I do because I wake up with songs in my brain. Mm-hmm. I'll say it on my voice recorder. Your voice recorder is good, kids. If you have it on your phone, I'll go, you'll never find, and I'm done. And I go, okay, got it. And I wake up later and I got it. But we recommend that especially because we say that once you get it out of you, you're writing it out of your brain, literally. Like you're writing it out of your brain. So you go, okay. Because we're always afraid we're going to forget something.
Yes.
Or we're afraid we're not going to get to it. Or we're afraid. But I don't know, seeing it, I'm a visual person. Seeing it on paper or seeing it somewhere, it calms me down.
Yeah. I'm visual like that too. And I would recommend not doing the voice recording if you have a spouse or a significant other sleeping next to you. Because I could just imagine Les 5 times during the night be like, shut up.
Well, it depends. I had people who slept very heavily next to me. They didn't wake up like that. There's some folks who are light sleepers, some that are heavy. So sometimes it can be okay. Not your household apparently, but in some households, I know people. I have people who I could drop weights on the floor or whatever, and they're gonna wake up. Like, are you alive? But some people. But then my daughter, she's a light sleeper, and so we can never sleep in the same room. She hears everything. I'm like, that was a spider walking. Like, why? How'd you hear that? Like that light. So anyway, I'm saying any hoots. I agree with Melissa in terms of just like just get it out because if you lay in bed thinking about it all night long, you won't get any sleep.
Right. Yeah. I'd rather be binge watching, Kaylee Kuko's latest series than sitting there in bed thinking and spinning about what's supposed to happen tomorrow, which is totally out of my control anyway. It's crazy.
Exactly, as my friend says. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes. So it's the 11th, and you wanted to ask me about the 11th. We just want numbers. We both have numbers.
Yes.
And
they're both odd numbers, which is interesting. Yes, my favorite and your favorite are odd numbers.
Which for me is weird because I was born May 10th at 10:10 p.m.
Whoa.
Yes. And 10 is a number that falls in my life a lot too, but it's not my number. 11 is the one that always brings me stuff.
So do you, when you look at the clock, see 10:10 a lot? Is that like a number thing that comes up?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. That's when I was born. Yeah. I see it, I go, oh, okay, that's interesting. But I'm like, no. And for a while, I was one of 10 children. Like, it was like this weird 10 thing kept happening in the middle of the. It was like, I'm number 5. Like, it was all this stuff. Was like, everything was like, but that's not my number, though. I don't think it's my number. My number is 11.
So why is your number 11?
So about 15 years ago, Nicholas and I, Mrs. Paris, an old colleague of ours, and my former colleague at the Insurance Skills Center, were at a Big I conference in Vegas.
Been there?
And yeah, of course. It was like, and we were excited. And no, but the Big I, they came from Virginia, or back east. They knew us. I can name some names. You're probably, I know them, or you may or may not know them. I don't know. But we used to always, they loved me and Nick because we were just like, 2 boys, boys, and we were crazy. But we're always, as you know this from working with us also, we're always helpful. Like, what do you need? Anything? You need help from us? We had no problem, sharing our expertise with how to run things. We never come in and take over. We don't want to, trust me, we don't want to take over. This is your event. But they'll be like, well, the way you guys do that is a little fat. Like, well, we'll show you that. That's fine. And we get free perks out of it. There'll be like certain things we get out of it, just for fun or whatever, or things that I can get later. And talk to the Big I. It went through faster. Shaking hands and scratching backs, that kind of stuff. It's always better to be kind. These are rules, folks. Take some notes. You can have voice recorder out. No. These are all notes. It's always you catch more flies with honey or something like that, or whatever.
Than you do with vinegar.
The thing is, smile at people and be nice to people and they'll do stuff for you. That's the whole gist of that story. And so we arrived the day before, like we always do, like to arrive the day before, like the night before, and like to check in. And the next morning would be actual check-in for the first day. I think it was like a 3-day conference or something. And we went out and had some fun, had some dinner, but we said, let's go to bed because we have to get up early because those things start early. So I got an eyelash in my eye. No, it's crazy. I get eyelashes in my eye all the time. Anyway, I have all this hair. All this hair everywhere. It's still curly. I love it. But no, but so we went to bed, and I'm telling you, I want to make this very clear. We didn't drink or anything that night because I was like, no, I always wait till at least the second night or first night after the events, then you go for the little drinks. But not my first. Like, no, I want to make sure I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready. So I went to bed, and I mean, he had his bed. We said he shared a room, so he had his bed. I have my bed. We're sleeping. Then I hear something in our room, and I'm telling you this. I believe it really happened. It didn't feel like a dream. Didn't feel like I was in a dream state. I look over at Nick's bed, and my grandmother Mitzi is sitting there.
Oh, wow.
In a beautiful gray dress. She has her hair all done, looking like I remembered her. At that point, she died in 92. So it was like 20 years earlier. No, well, 10 years. So that's right at that point. So I tell you, about 10 years earlier or so. And she died. We were on bad terms when she died.
Oh.
Had to do with who I was becoming, and she didn't like it and all this stuff. And so we were on speaking terms when she died. And she died of an aneurysm here at my house here. She died in my mother's arms, actually. And so I came home, said goodbye to her. They put her on, she had the aneurysm. They put her on life support. They said basically she's dead. So they waited for me to come because me and one of her sisters lived somewhere else. We didn't live in LA. I was living in Sacramento at the time. We came back and said goodbye to her, and then we pulled the plug and the whole thing. But when she died, we died unfinished. I was upset. I was not happy about the whole thing. So I didn't reconcile anything, blah, blah. Well, she's sitting there, and I'm like, Mitzi, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? And she was like, everything's okay. And it's like, everything's okay. It's like, everything's okay. We're fine. Everything's okay. I said, okay. And we had a cat at the time. David was back home. David was back at home. And our cat, Sasha, was having surgery. And the next morning, and she said, she loved cats. But her biggest, my girl loved cats. She goes, Sasha will be okay. Okay. I was like, I don't know how you know that, but okay, I'll accept that. And I said, I'm just really sorry for everything. And she's like, it's okay, me too. And then she got up. Now, Mitzi was, I would say as big as she was round. She was like 4'9", 5'7" heels. Breasts out to here. Like just little beautiful, her beautiful legs, and just breasts out to here, big hair. She always had big hair. She was beautiful. I remember I loved the way she smelled. I was a kid. She had big fragrances. She wore scarves, and she worked in downtown LA for the city, and she always had the big hair and the nails. And she was like, her bras hurt. She got her treasure chest and all this stuff. So for some reason that stuck out to me. She had this beautiful dress. She looked so beautiful. I was like, you look really beautiful in that dress. And so she was walking towards the door. And I go, wait, are you leaving? And she's like, you have to go. And then she goes to the door and she turns, she goes, 11. And then she walks out.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I'm sitting there and I didn't cry. I wasn't emotional. I was kind of like, wow, this is really interesting. Nick wakes up and goes, was there an earthquake? I go, no, it wasn't an earthquake. Because I feel like somebody was on my bed. Were you sitting on my bed? I go, no, I was not sitting on your bed. Like, you play a joke on me? Like, no, we did play jokes on each other all the time, as friends would do. I said, no. And I said, I'll take his, he and Mitzi had a kindred spirit. They have a lot of things in common. They love cats, they love Paris, the whole big thing. I go, Mitzi was here. And Nick was not one of those mystical, magical people at all. He's very practical, but he did believe in certain things. And somebody very close to me had died a few years earlier. And Nick said that person went to him, telling him to watch over me. He never came to me. He went to Nick, apparently. So Nick, I go, Mitzi was here. He goes, she was. He goes, I smell this perfume. It smells like, and he said, I would go, that's her perfume. So I'm like, obviously, I don't know, folks. Everybody at home can decide how do you feel about that. So we go back to sleep. We get up the next morning. We get up later that morning. We come downstairs, and so they got a spot for the registration. And so they go, hey, ladies, and it was Katie Cosgrove. You know her?
Why should I? I remember the name.
She was one of the big. I mean, so she's she was great. It was her and a couple of people. They were like, "Hey James, all these the boys. Oh my god, you know, we're all hugging or whatever." And so and then people were like, "You guys should be doing your job or whatever." And I'm like, whatever. So then I looked over and they had a Macy's coupon for 11% off.
11% off.
I've never seen 11% off in my entire life.
No.
So then we check in, and she goes, "Well, we have coffee, but you want the good coffee. You want to kind of get yourself around the corner." We're like, "Okay." So we let around the corner. I ordered me mixed coffees. It came to $11.11. Later at night at dinner, we go to one of the restaurants with a couple of girls, whatever, and we're splitting up everybody's checks. And James's portion came to, it was like $38.11. And I was like, something's going on. Then the next day, when one of the speakers, I didn't mount to one of the classes, which we do sometimes, we mount one of the classes, and they were talking about the power of 11. Okay, get back to San Francisco, and we get off the plane, and we're going to the BART train or whatever. I look down, there's 11 cents, a dime, and a penny. So I pick it up, and I noticed I would find 11 cents places all the time. And then I noticed I get to hotel rooms and the numbers would up to 11, or I'd be on the 11th floor. So I go, it's Mitzi. I told my mother, it's Mitzi. It's like her guardian angel. She's watching over me. Maybe that's what it is. So to this day, 15, 16, 17 years later, it happens to me all the time. All the time. I see 11 everywhere. 11 is just like 11. I saw $11 like not too long ago on the street. It was a $10 bill and a $1 bill. It's like $11.
Which is highly unusual. It's highly unusual.
Yes.
You know, if it was 5 or 10 or 20 for the money, you know, or 5 cents or 10 cents, that makes sense. But 11, like a dime and a penny, $10 and a dollar.
I have witnesses. I always go, look at this before I do it. Look, I didn't plant this. Look at it. My sister and they all seen it. So yes, so 11 has become my favorite number. And I realized a couple of important moments in my life, they happened on the 11th of a month. I look back at a couple of things and yeah, so it's kind of, yeah, it's very much, yeah. Right. So 11, even though 10 is very prominent in my stuff, it's 11 is the one that gets me all the stuff I need.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing. It's a beautiful story. And 11. So when I go visit my sister in Arizona, I will play 11 on the roulette table for you.
Yes, do that. No, seriously. I mean, you never know, right? I mean, I've gotten things where I've gotten $11 on Scratcher, $11. It's and I show like, folks, I just want to show you, James is not crazy.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's that number. I will end it here. I am James.
And I am Melissa.
This is episode conversation 34. We're a little further along than I thought we were. We're moving right along. We'll be back for episode 35. Check out our shows. We're on audio and video wherever you find your podcast. Video on YouTube, JLJ Media. Check out my YouTube channel. It is a hot spot right now. Check it out. Everybody's checking it out. So you should do it too. And play 11 on something. Who knows? Maybe do some. Say James sent you.